Folks, give it up for Dr. Dani Pfeiffer.
Wow, thank you so much. I get tired listening to all that, actually. And I also know that family is really important, so I appreciate you saying that, Dan. And I also appreciate that family is sometimes those that we forget to recognize and thank for their numerous contributions. So I want to thank Dan for that introduction and for the opportunity to share and highlight the work happening in Federal Way Public Schools. Before I begin, though, I'd like to recognize a few members of the audience. And first, I'd like to acknowledge our Board of Directors, Board President Hiroshi Eto, Vice President Trudy Davis, Board Directors Lakeisha Phillips, Dr. Jennifer Jones, and Quinton Morris. And I'd like to congratulate them on their recent recognition as Washington State Board of Distinction for the 7th year in a row, and also express my appreciation for their commitment and ongoing support of our work, our staff, and our students. I'd also like to recognize our elected officials, our business partners, and community-based organizations who have continued to support our school community. I want to acknowledge the heroic efforts of our teachers, staff, principals, and leadership team who do the most vital work in our schools each and every day, some of whom are here today. And finally, I'd like to introduce the scholars who have joined us here today. First, our two scholar representatives to the board, Olivia Goodwin and Nan Dawn. There you go. And scholar representatives to the superintendent, Joseph Coker and Giselle Takia. In the brief time we spend together today, I'll do the best to highlight the most noble and critical work we're doing educating our young people. I'll begin by reminding us of who we are and who we serve, celebrate and highlight our achievements and opportunities for growth, and our vision for moving forward to embrace the possibilities of each and every scholar. In Federal Way Public Schools, we're proud to serve every student that walks through our door. We are one of the most diverse in our state and nation, where 41% of our scholars speak a language other than English. In fact, the nearly 21,000 students in our 37 schools represent a variety of cultures, races, religions, and ethnicities, and speak a total of 104 languages at home. Approximately 73% of our students are socioeconomically disadvantaged, and 14% are differently abled or neurodiverse and receive special education services. And we choose to see each scholar's individual and limitless potential and celebrate them for exactly who they are. Our work is guided by our strategic plan, which shares our 5 goals from the early years through persistence to graduation, our core beliefs and our mission that captures our district's collective values centered in equity. And when we are operating in the ideal, not only will we achieve the goals that we've outlined in these areas, we will also realize our vision for excellence and equity, the core of our work as we continually to strive to create the highest quality and most equitable school system for our young people. Today, as I share our work, I'll be using the frame of possibility. Possibility, celebrating our accomplishments and examining what is possible in our challenges. Over the past 2 years, we've all faced innumerable challenges, and in many ways, we're still feeling those effects. But the outlook we choose to adopt in the face of difficulty shapes our attitudes and, in turn, may either enhance or limit our perspectives. When our perspective or outlook is limited, focused only on what is wrong, what our schools or young people are or are not capable of, then that limits what we believe is possible and ultimately what we are able to achieve. And we miss the opportunities to share and celebrate our schools and our young people's successes. When faced with challenges like we experienced last year and those that remain before us, We must redirect our energy to envision and work toward what is possible for our scholars, for our schools, and for our greater community. When we do this, we demonstrate our belief in our young people, in their bright futures. By speaking about and planning for what is possible, we teach them to be resilient, to solve problems, and ultimately to believe in themselves. So as we have navigated last year, and at times we're faced with difficulties and challenges that in my 30 years of education I have never experienced, we leaned in and on each other to imagine and embrace what was possible. As we look forward to what is possible, it is critical that we set that in the context of what we experienced last year. The impacts of COVID pandemic were widespread, affecting public school systems across the country. We had to reinvent processes across nearly every aspect of our system. Ever-changing public health guidance affected the way we cleaned our buildings, transported students to and from school, arranged our classrooms, monitored the health of scholars and staff, communicated and engaged with our families, community partners, and volunteers, and most importantly, how we taught and how students experienced learning and school. 3 to 6 feet apart, in cohorted recesses and lunch, with no large group school assemblies, experiencing chronic absenteeism due to illness, and of course, increased social, emotional, mental health, and academic needs. All of this, plus a national labor shortage, made what we'd hope would be a return to normal, not normal at all. Ask our students, they will tell you. And amidst all of those impacts, our commitment to our students meant that we needed to see beyond those challenges and embrace the possibilities, doing exactly what needed to be done to navigate our year and remain positive, hopeful, and ultimately supportive of our youth. So looking back on the 21-22 school year, here are some ways in which we did just that. We welcomed back nearly 21,000 scholars to our buildings for full-time in-person learning for the first time since March of 2020, focused on rebuilding school communities, creating a sense of belonging, assessing student academic and social emotional needs, and providing supports. In order to maintain the health and safety of nearly 21,000 students and 3,000 staff, we both responded to and ensured alignment to constantly evolving health and safety requirements put forth by public health. When accessibility to testing was limited or difficult for our staff, families, students, and community, in addition to providing testing at school sites and providing access to 2 mobile testing sites, members of Team Federal Way administered and provided drive-through COVID testing to those that needed it. Throughout the school year, we were faced with the challenge of the impact of COVID on our incredible teaching staff and other staff. And while other school districts were challenged by the same impact and had to close, we kept our schools open by going the extra mile, and our central office staff, our school administration, our teachers serving as guest teachers and covering classes for those that were out due to illness. As a data point, at one point we had 290 certificated staff members out. When our other districts were struggling to keep their buses running, which we heard on the news often, due to the impacts of COVID and the national labor shortage, Federal Way Public Schools did not. In fact, we kept our 98 routes fully operational while transporting scholars safely to and from school. And additionally, our food and nutritious service staff continued to serve 2.5 million meals. And as a result, oh, go ahead, all righty, okay. And as a result of the continued generosity and support of taxpayers in passing the 2017 bond, we've completed and opened 4 beautiful new schools: Thomas Jefferson, Mirror Lake Elementary, Evergreen Middle School, and Star Lake Elementary. Together, we broke ground on the new Olympic View campus, which is being rebuilt as a K-8, started the design process for Memorial Field, and started design process for Illahee Middle School. We saw a continuation of community support for the longstanding EP&O and tech levy last February, which provides essential funding for operations, technology, and personnel. And we thank our community of voters for investing. And finally, last June, for the first time in 2 years, we held an in-person graduation for the class of 2022. We celebrated 1,520 graduates who earned more than $15 million in college scholarships, and 99% of our graduates had a defined post-secondary plan more than ever before. And those are just a few examples of the many things we achieved last year. There are many more I could talk about, and thanks to our concerted, even heroic members of Federal Way Public Schools staff, this all became true. And we don't operate in isolation. Supporting and educating our youth is a collective responsibility. And in these times, schools certainly can't do it alone. And our community partners have been and continue to be critical to our success. And I want to thank each of you who have partnered over the last years. Together, all of us saw what was possible. Now I'm going to share a few examples of the growth that we made last year in support of our strategic plan goals. The 5 goals of our strategic plan provide direction for our work in continuous improvement. In addition to our bright spots, I'll also share a few of the programs we implemented in support of student learning needs that have emerged due to the pandemic. First, in support of Goal 1, our earliest of learners, we've continued to increase early learning opportunities. What we know is that early learning matters, and the earlier students establish pre-literacy and math skills, the more successful they will be in kindergarten and beyond. So, okay, Kim Erickson. Okay. So this year, we've increased our early learning capacity by 88% to support our youngest learners in building a strong foundation for a successful entry into kindergarten. We believe that partnerships between schools and families are essential to helping our scholars to have the greatest academic success. Last year, 89.5% of our families participated in spring student-led conferences, an increase compared to the spring of 2021 at 87%. We also know that the parent is the child's first teacher, and keeping families well informed regarding their child's academic progress is critically important. We know that the relationship between students and teacher is essential to the teaching and learning process. Students must perceive that their teacher cares about them and that their learning matters, wanting them to be successful. On our annual student perception survey, students in grades 3 through 5 reporting having positive relationships with their teachers. When compared to data from previous years, we saw a 10% increase in our elementary students on this measure and a 6% increase in our middle school scholars. In support of goals 3 and 4 and in response to academic needs and learning loss, we launched a Saturday Scholar program last spring. In addition to receiving academic support in the areas of math and English arts, we offered students elective and enrichment opportunities. More than 200 5th and 8th grade scholars participated, with many more on the waiting list. Because of the high demand, we'll be offering 2 sessions this year. Another way we supported scholars' academic recovery was through summer learning. Over 1,500 scholars engaged in summer learning, the most we have ever had, in equating to 102% increase. In addition to reading and math, we also offered STEM, music, language, culinary arts, team sports, dance, and much more. We know extended learning opportunities like summer school and Saturday school are critically important to accelerate student learning in response to learning loss. Every year we track completion of our high school students, and we provide opportunities for credit recovery in order to ensure scholars graduate. These opportunities have become even more important with the impacts of COVID on high school credits. Last school year, we were intensely focused on ensuring students were recovering credits, and we had record numbers of scholars taking advantage of those opportunities. 747 credit completions, the most in a single year. We are fortunate to have many multilingual young people in our schools. One of the areas where we're concentrating our efforts is promoting and celebrating biliteracy. We're proud that last year, 169 of our scholars earned the state seal of biliteracy by demonstrating proficiency. As a result of this commitment, we saw an increase of 28% of scholars earning this prestigious seal. In support of goals 3 and 4, we continue to expand our investment in STEM education. And at the close of last year, we were awarded a $750,000 multi-year Project Lead the Way grant from the ARDAR Group. This grant will also help us to expand science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities for our elementary and middle school scholars. We're using funds to implement computer programming and problem-solving units in elementary grades and expand our CTE courses in all middle schools. And in support of Goal 5, scholars challenge themselves by taking academically advanced coursework, including AP, IB, and Cambridge courses available at all of our high schools. One of our commitments is to make certain that students are enrolled in advanced coursework. Ensuring that they are enrolled is one thing, but more importantly is making certain that they pass these classes. With this additional focus, last year we saw an 11% increase in the scholars passing advanced coursework. Some of our career and technical education courses also offer college credit. This is known as dual credit. In order to provide students with enhanced high school experience, especially in the areas of career and technical education, we've expanded our dual credit CTE offerings. As a result, we saw an increase of 38% in the number of scholars enrolled in these courses, and these courses expose students to areas of further study and future careers. As part of our commitment to ensuring scholars are future ready and exit high school with options, we give students a chance to earn an industry-recognized certificate in a variety of different fields as part of a CTE pathway. In addition to the 11 recognized certificates reflected here, we are adding more certificates this year. We're committed to expanding these offerings as we work in partnership with our business and industry partners. In 2021 school year, scholars earned 465 IRCs, and last school year, scholars earned 989 industry-recognized certificates, a 112.6 or 113 increase from the year before. One of our measures of progress is FAFSA and WASFA submission rates. Several of you might be wondering why we think this is important to track. We know that access to financial aid is what makes a college education possible for the majority of our students. So we make this part of the high school and beyond plan, and we provide support to both our families and scholars in the completion process. Our scholars continue to complete and submit the FAFSA at a 19% higher rate than the state average of 52. And finally, the class of 2022 spent half of their high school career during a pandemic, the majority of which was done in remote instruction. And I'm proud to share with you our preliminary data that shows 87% of them graduated on time, a figure almost back to pre-pandemic, and this is done by the hard work of our students, staff, and administration. And while we have much to celebrate, and we have made substantial growth in key metrics, we know that we have much that sits before us as we respond to our scholars' needs. The pandemic has created new challenges and has certainly intensified others. So I'm going to begin by setting the national context and then share our areas of focus and continuous improvement. In Federal Way, we are not alone. As a nation, we're seeing significant challenges that we must work together to overcome. The U.S. Department of Education released data that echoes our own local experience. The pandemic has negatively impacted academic growth, widening pre-existing opportunity and achievement gaps. Schools across the nation have seen a rise in chronic absenteeism. Nearly all students have experienced some challenges to their mental health and well-being during the pandemic. More than 80% of U.S. public schools report the pandemic has negatively impacted student behavior and social emotional development. We also know that historically marginalized communities, predominantly school communities of color like ours, have experienced the greatest degree of impact. And as many of you have seen both and heard on the news, the nation's report card recently came out, and it aligns with what we are seeing in our own scholar achievement. Research revealed that national average reading scores saw their biggest decline since the 1990s, and math scores the largest decline ever. In fact, no state reported improvements in mathematics per nation's report card. And I think it's both relevant and important to be reminded that the real impact on learning for all will take several years to recover. I share this information not to make excuses, but to simply provide context and perspective. I also think that it's very important to remember that COVID happened to all of us and had significant impacts on academics, but even more significant impacts on the social development and overall mental health of our youth. For example, the Healthy Youth Survey taken by 8th and 10th grade scholars across the state asks students about their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors pertaining to a variety of health and safety topics, including mental health, anxiety, depression. Our results reflect the alarming trend seen across the state and country in which adolescents are reporting an increased frequency of depression, suicidal ideation, and other mental health concerns. In fact, last year when meeting with my scholar advisors, they voiced this sentiment, that they are struggling with their own mental health. More than 1 in 3 scholars reported feeling so sad and hopeless that they gave up some of their usual activities, and more concerning is the number of our young people that are seriously considering or have planned suicide. More than 1 in 10 reported making plans, and 60% reported that there is no adult that they could turn to when they feel sad or hopeless, similar to across the nation. In response to this crisis, I will share the strategic investments we are making to support scholar mental health, as I'll share in this next section. We also are seeing the impacts on our youngest of scholars. In this school year, 54% of our incoming kindergartners were not considered kindergarten ready in one or more of the domains as measured by the state kindergarten assessment. And our data is also indicating that 22% of our kindergartners are performing at the age of 3 years old or lower in math skills, such as counting, sorting, and recognizing numbers. Further, as we dig more deeply into our spring SBA data, you can see where the impacts of COVID are apparent. The national story plays itself out in our data, as we see both decreases in English language arts and math as compared to pre-COVID numbers. It's difficult to talk about this data, especially considering the efforts of our students to learn and our educators to teach. But we shouldn't give up hope. As this recent quote from Ed Week indicates, these test scores drops in no way indicate that our students represent a lost generation. In fact, this should reinforce the need of our schools and for our teachers. As a district, we are clear about our current reality, but we are not letting that reality deter us from action. We see these numbers as our baseline, our new starting place. And while no one knows the precise timeline of how long recovery from these impacts will take, We are committed, and we will work relentlessly to change outcomes for our young people. I'd like to share with you our vision for how we will embrace the possibilities, focusing on our strategic initiatives, our areas of intense focus, and our continuous improvement efforts. When faced with the data we have, we know we must be intensely focused on accelerating learning and providing the necessary supports. The vision and response to our data is captured in our Bridge to Excellence Recovery Planning Guide. These efforts are focused in 3 main areas: high-quality instruction with a focus on acceleration, creating a sense of belonging for every child within our system, and purposeful engagement with scholars, families, and our community. In addition to the recovery efforts being informed by research, we also gathered the input and insight from staff, families, and community through a variety of methods. Some of the key themes that emerged included the need for scholar well-being and mental health supports, tutoring, collaboration with family and community, and focusing on engaging instruction. Our first area of improvement is on grade-level culturally responsive core instruction with a focus on accelerating learning. We are intentional with our planning around our academic focus, knowing this is one of our greatest needs. We are implementing a framework called Multi-Tiered Systems of Support, or MTSS, which provides layers of support for students based on demonstrated academic need. Think about this as every student getting exactly what they need, whether reteaching the skill or enriching the skill. We're engaging in careful work to grow our own instructional practices by increasing rigor in student engagement through instructional strategies. We also have enhanced our continuous improvement process, setting important targets for our schools. And this year, we are implementing our district's support team model, a collaborative model targeted to support schools. Early research indicates that in response to COVID and impacts on learning loss, tutoring is yielding positive results. We're offering several layers of tutoring options and extended learning opportunities for our students. We're continuing to offer free online tutoring to all students in grades 4 through 12. We are offering intensive tutoring supports to selected high school students. We'll be expanding our Saturday and school community, as well as our summer school extensions. And I'm excited to announce that we will be forming our own Federal Public Schools Volunteer Tutoring Corps with, thank you. With outreach to the community members, retired teachers, and in some cases, even some of our high school students who will be able to support our younger learners. And I'm gonna give a shameless plug for you to join this cause at the end. So I'm signaling that now, okay. In response to our kindergarten readiness data, we're continuing to expand access to early learning, providing play and learn opportunities to close the gaps in reading and numeracy, developing a kindergarten readiness framework, and continuing to partner with our families. Our second area of focus is on ensuring each student feels a sense of belonging within their schools and responding to the needs of our young people regarding mental health. The first we have responded is by making a strategic investment in social emotional supports. This includes increasing the number of counselors, nurses, and behavior specialists, as well as access to mental health providers. We also have placed emphasis on setting our students up for success with target activities for the first 30 days of school and intentional advisory lessons around social emotional skills. In addition to the free mental health online services available to all scholars 13 years of age and older, we have expanded our mental health referrals through HealthPoint, Valley Cities, and YMCA, as well as other mental health providers. Finally, across the country, we've seen a rise in both access to and use of substances in our youth. In addition to the prevention education in our schools, we are partnering with Consejo for substance use referrals for our students. We continue to model, teach, and expect appropriate behaviors in our schools. Expectations are clearly laid out in our Rights and Responsibilities Handbook, and students are intentionally taught those expectations using positive behavior interventions and support. We are investing in social emotional learning, teaching students skills like self-management, self-awareness, responsibility, and conflict resolution. And finally, we have a partnership with Puget Sound ESD that provides a behavioral advocate for additional behavior support where necessary. The engagement of our scholars, families, and community members is vitally important, and we have several key initiatives to enhance our engagement. We will continue to engage our scholars and families through structures enabling them to offer their voice and feedback on systems for improvement to make us the best we possibly can. These include scholar and family advisory to the superintendent and principal, scholar representative to the board, surveys, and community connect sessions. In order to continue to enhance our partnerships with our families, we'll be offering several opportunities to connect with them. New this year will be our online digital magazine called The Voice Family Edition, which will be filled with parenting resources and information. We'll also be hosting a series of family information nights to boost supports at home, and we'll be launching our Family Academy, a series of classes on topics that have been requested by our parents, like social media and support for their child's mental health. With over 104 languages spoken across our district, we have invested in the access to language supports and translation tools to enhance communication, with the goal of ensuring that all families feel welcome and well-informed. One of the most innovative tools that's in use is the ILA, or the Instant Language Assistant, simultaneous translation devices, which are now available across our school district in each of our schools. And finally, let's talk about our community partners. Currently, we have 43 community partnerships, and we're continuing to grow and expand those community partnerships. The partnerships that we have currently are offering academic supports, mental health supports, enrichment opportunities, family supports, and we are working with our faith-based organizations to provide additional supports. Those are just a few that's sampling on the screen of those that we currently have partnerships with. And finally, I'd like to share how we continue to invest in expanding innovative programs and options, particularly in the area of career and technical education and supports for college access. We often are asked about our investment in CTE, or career and technical education. Since last year, we've expanded our course offerings and career and technical education pathways. 6 comprehensive CTE programs of study, 76 CTE high school courses, 6 CTE middle school, 45 CTE courses are eligible for dual credit, remember college credit, and 40 CTE courses offer industry-recognized certification. And we continue to expand and align our middle school CTE programs with science programming with our high school career pathways focused on STEM. We offer 6 programs of study in our comprehensive high schools, and our courses are designed to meet both exploratory and preparatory experiences in a variety of careers in our region, and we're looking forward to enhancing our partnership with our business community and the Chamber to increase the opportunities for work-based internship and experiences that support these pathways. As we continue to increase post-high school opportunities, we launched the Construction Pre-Apprenticeship Program at Federal Way High School with a strong partnership for the construction industry. This creates increased opportunities for our young people with the construction field by developing a strong apprenticeship program from high school to college and career credentials in construction. We will continue to expand this programming, and our brand new outdoor learning space will be open for scholars on November 15th. We will continue to expand our IGNITE program, which stands for Inspiring Girls Now in Technology. The program is focused on exposing students to the experiences in the STEM industry. This experience encompasses hearing from professionals in the field of STEM, as well as opportunities to have hands-on experience. Most recently, I joined a group of 60 scholars at the T-Mobile campus, where we learned about cybersecurity, computer science, and data security. The Incubator Program is a full-year course offering an authentic entrepreneur experience where scholars work in teams to build their own businesses. We are actively working with local business partners to develop mentor relationships, host guest speakers, and eventually be able to have the scholars pitch their business ideas to generate funding to launch their businesses. Our Federal High School team was selected to pitch their business at the National Incubator Summit past year. I want to thank the Federal Way Chamber of Commerce, and particularly Becca Martin, CEO, for the partnership with our entrepreneurial program. In fact, last week the Chamber hosted a meeting to recruit our own set of business sharks to help recruit business owners and mentors and coaches to the students enrolled in the program. I'd also like to recognize Cindy Dusich, our community champion, who helped last year with the soft launch of the program, and this year as she continues to provide support to our students with advocacy for the program. Most recently, we received a National Academy Foundation grant, which will allow us to strengthen our investment in STEM by creating 2 academies within our high schools, focused in the areas of engineering and biomedicine. One of the most exciting initiatives this year is our partnership with colleges to provide guaranteed admissions to seniors who meet specific admissions requirement. Last year, we launched our partnership with PLU. 511 scholars qualified and were offered admissions. In less than 24 hours, 11 accepted, and PLU is honoring the college-bound scholarships. This year, we are proud to add 5 state colleges to this partnership, seen here on the screen. The Guaranteed Admissions Program demonstrates that our scholars are seen by the post-secondary community as fully ready to engage in rigorous college-level work. Additionally, knowing the importance of students having a clear path on what they will do immediately after high school, in partnership with Highline Community College, we have submitted a regional challenge grant that will support those graduating seniors that do not yet have a plan. All qualified seniors will have automatic enrollment into Highline Community College. Lastly, one thing that the pandemic has taught us is that schools truly can't do it alone, and that we can't accomplish everything that we must without the partnership of others, those that imagine and embrace the possibilities that live within our scholars. And as we consider and work toward increasing outcomes for children, I'd like to invite you to join us in supporting the future of Federal Way. Our scholars. Consider becoming a mentor, a tutor, a volunteer to help imagine and realize the possibilities. Think about whether your company could offer an incubator partnership to encourage scholar entrepreneurialism, volunteer in our schools, or check our job openings and consider joining our team of amazing, committed teachers and staff. And we've made this pretty easy for you. If you're ready, we have made this easy, I say, with this QR code. Sign up to be a mentor, tutor, or volunteer. Use the QR code you see right here, or even more conveniently, right on your table. You could take it with you if you're not committing quite yet. And if we haven't convinced you yet to join us to make a difference in the lives of our young people, I would ask you to join our efforts in recognizing our students, staff, families, and community partners as part of our #FWPSProud campaign. Help us to highlight the great work that is happening in our district and the possibilities yet to come. You've heard me describe our successes and celebrations, as well as our opportunities for growth and our plans for the future. The importance of both envisioning and working with intentional focus on continuous improvement, all while embracing what is possible for our schools and for our children. As we close today, I'd like to share with you the voices of our scholars when asked, what does possible mean?
Like, possible means something that could happen in your life, and impossible means something that won't happen in your life.
It means you can do it by yourself. You can't do the thing that's impossible, but you can do the thing that is possible.
Possible is probably like something that can happen to you. Something made possible is me having faith in what I'm about to do, believe in myself, and think that everything's gonna be okay. It's good to try your best, even if you think you can't do it. People that care about you will think you can do it, and that's actually true. You can.
If it's too hard, I will try my best, but if it's still too hard, I'll still try my best and I'll get it.
Well, everything is possible, but something might be impossible because it's not allowed, or maybe like you have a certain mindset that you sometimes will think that something's not possible, and it probably can be.
If I think something is impossible, I'll push myself to my best limit.
If I want to become a surgeon, I have to work hard and study hard and do my best and make it possible.
Embracing impossibility is more of having the mindset of staying confident in yourself and have you view life and stuff like that.
I think that the difference really is just what people think they can and can't do.
Keeping my mind in a positive mindset and trying to make things possible, like trying to, push towards those things and making them, things that can happen for me, things that are possible.
Anything's a possibility as long as you have a goal to it and as long as you achieve to reach that, it's possible. If you give yourself strategies and set goals for yourself, it's possible.
If a teacher is pushing you more, then it's because it's for the best and they know they have something that's in you that can push yourself into being something bigger than what you are. And later on, you would go back to them and say thank you to them.
I want to make things. The only thing I'm struggling with is math. Once I get that down, it's not hard. And can I do that? Absolutely. I can. That is possible.
So in the words of our scholars, embrace possibility is having a mindset of staying confident. Yes, we see many challenges to overcome, but within those challenges, we see possibilities. We are committed to believing in and working toward the bright futures of our scholars and inspiring them to do so as well. Can we do this? Absolutely, we can. We will, we must, and I invite you to embrace the possibilities along with our 3,000 members of Team Federal Way. Thank you very much for the opportunity.